are listening to Off the Cuff. Now, here's your host, Adam Banks.
Welcome, everybody, to Off the Cuff. I am Adam Banks, broadcasting from Lexington, Kentucky. Thank you for listening to the show, and thank you for tuning in to WLXU 93.9 FM. In addition to listening to us on the radio, you can check out our Facebook live stream at Off the Cuff with Adam Banks, or you can download the Radio Lex app on your smartphone device to listen anywhere in the entire country. I should say the entire world. Amber Turner is with me, as she is always, but she is at her house. I'm at mine. We are social distancing. This is House Arrest Volume 4. Amber, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing very, very good, circumstances being what they are. Thanks, everybody, for joining us on the show thread. We are doing House Arrest Series Volume 4. This is a special day for me, a very special broadcast for Off the Cuff, Amber, and I really hate that we're not in the studio doing this episode, but hey, we are on the radio broadcasting this episode. This episode right here, Amber, is the 1-year anniversary of our radio show. We have officially now been on the radio 1 year.
Yay!
I don't even know what to say about that. I'm very thankful. I want to express my gratitude, first of all, to all the fans that listen. Thank you so much. There would not be a show if it was not for the fans. I want to thank you, Amber.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, sitting with me and listening to my nonsense every single week. And I just really want to thank, again, just the fans and the listeners of Off the Cuff. There would be no show without you. And if you would have told me a couple years ago that I would be broadcasting on the radio in Lexington, the city that I live, in a city with such numbers like this, I would have not believed it. And it's not like I didn't think it would ever happen. It's just, you know how it is. When things actually do happen, it still catches you off guard. You still don't see it coming. And here it is 1 year later. We've done 50 radio broadcasts. And I would say that the show has improved, has matured, and has developed over the last just year since it's been on the radio.
I definitely agree. I feel like this year has been a very wild ride for us. I think that it has been an absolute, a pleasure working with not only someone that I love so much in this world, but someone who is so good at what they do. So you've made this very easy for me. But again, look at all the crazy things that Off the Cuff has had happen. Yes, we went on the radio. You have recorded several spots that premiere throughout the entire station, promoting our show. We've been on television. You have been on television. This has just been a crazy year. So yes, thank you to everyone who helps us. But at the end of the day, thank you, Banks, for being a good leader. And thank you for having a vision that you refuse to give up on. And I think that's the thing we have to take away from Off the Cuff is you refused to ever give up or let slack happen, especially in the wake of, coronavirus. I instantly knew that we were never going to have a problem because I have you as my captain, and Off the Cuff has you as the captain on this ship. So thank you. This is for you.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate all those nice things. That is very nice. I remember the day like it was yesterday, the day that we broadcasted for the very first time. I'll never forget the moment. Last year around this time, we actually debuted on the radio April the 18th. So our next radio broadcast, it won't be it's not actually the 18th today, but this is as close as we're going to get to being on the air on the 18th. But I remember around this time, I was interviewing with the radio station to put the show on the air, giving them the idea and everything, and trying to convince them that this is the show that people would listen to, and this is a show that could go places. And I think, honestly, I don't know if they liked the idea of the show, but I think what they liked was just my drive, and they seen how enthusiastic I was about radio and about doing this project, and they knew how passionate I was about Off the Cuff. They were like, I mean, what do we have to lose? And then here we are a year later, and I'm telling you, I don't know what else to say except thank you to the fans. I really do appreciate it. It's been 1 year. My favorite radio moment, I was looking through all the episodes just of the radio that we've been on, and I'm going to ask you, Amber, before I reveal what my favorite radio moment is, what has been your favorite radio moment since we've been on the air?
There are definitely a lot of behind the scenes things that our audience does not get to see that are probably my favorite moments. But I think one that we've all, I guess, the Off the Cuff family has been able to share together is when you and I brought a conversation to life on the air that I don't think a lot of people could have, I guess, brought with as much intensity as we did, but you and I talked about televangelists on one of the first shows that we did.
Yeah.
And it was hilarious because sometimes you do weird things like when you're talking and it's totally fine, but you did something when you and I were kind of like discussing something privately. You said, put your hands on the screen. And when you were able to bring that on air, I was like, I'm so happy that this was something we could bring, because now everybody else got to enjoy listening to him say, put your hands on the screen.
If you want to know what episode Amber's talking about, it's episode 267. It's called Put Your Hands on the TV Screen is the name of the episode. And the episode that she's referring to is me talking about televangelist and Kenneth. Well, it was Peter Popoff.
Peter Popoff.
Peter Popoff is who it was I was imitating. And I was talking about just televangelists in general, how they are preaching on TV and how they are charismatically. And I was talking about Christian rock music and Christian rap music versus the good old-fashioned hymns. I was talking about all of that, and I got really into it, and I was doing a Peter Popoff impersonation. How many people do you know, Amber? How many people does the off-the-cuff listeners know that? How many people go on the radio and do a impression of Peter Popoff? Not many people.
I think you should go ahead and reprise that and just do it one more time. Now that everybody can see your face, I think you should.
On episode 267, if you want to go back and listen to it, you can. Amber, my favorite radio moment is actually episode 268. It's the title of the episode is called Mystery of Public Bathrooms. And it really wasn't the conversation that we had about bathrooms, although that was a great conversation we had about
conversation,
the mysterious place of a public restroom. But my favorite part about that episode was that is when Off the Cuff, that is when I realized that it was more than just my friends and more than just my family that listened to the show, because I think we were giving away concert tickets to a rap concert. And I just opened the phone lines up and I said, okay, whoever calls me first is going to get these tickets. And it was a stranger. And It was somebody, I think her name was Michelle. And
it was Michelle.
Her name was Michelle. Yeah. I won't forget that. And it was because of Michelle's phone call is when I realized, hey, you never know who's listening. And there's more than people I just know that's listening to the show.
I think we always knew there were more than just people that we knew that were listening to the show.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that we did have that validation early on. I mean, we definitely know now that we've got listeners all over the country. So it was nice to have that validation early on.
But I love radio. Don't get me wrong. Television's great. I have a great time when I do it, but there's nothing like radio. My passion, what I have for radio is just, it will never go away and it will always be with me. But Amber, it was a interesting past weekend. It was Easter weekend. We talked about that a little bit on the show last week on House Arrest Volume 3. And we talked about how bizarre it was going to be having Easter Sunday virtually from the house. You have to worship virtually alone or with your family. Just you couldn't do it at church. It's the holiest day in the Christian religion. So Andy Bashir said in his Friday press conference before Easter Sunday weekend, he said he warned people basically of gathering in masses to go to church. And he said that if that happens, that he will send the state police out to record your license plate so they can basically suggest a quarantine for you for the next 14 days, which I understand what he's saying. He is trying to keep people safe. Don't get me wrong. But there was a church that decided to go against his order, and I believe that church was in Bullitt County.
It was.
And they gathered in masses, and they had Easter Sunday. And I was reading a story about the pastor showing up, and there was nails all in the parking lot trying to prevent people from showing up. Whoever did that,
wow.
You're stupid, first of all, for putting nails in the parking lot. Why did you do that? It's none of your concern to do that. I know that you don't agree that they're meeting and doing that against the governor's orders, but to throw nails in the parking lot, you need to be arrested for that. So shame on you for doing that. And shame on the people for meeting on Easter Sunday when 99% of the churches, Amber, are not meeting. When you got people like my church and you got other people's churches not meeting, 99%, that's a big number, 99
That's a huge number.
When you got 99% of people following the orders and you just got a couple not, it really makes you frustrated because it's like, well, if nobody's going to listen, why did I listen, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you got people breaking the laws, showing their stupidity, showing their ignorance. You know, God gave us a brain, use it. And I understand that it did so happen to be Easter. It is the holiest day of the Christian holiday. Still use your brain. Don't do it. There was a woman, her name was Betty Bevelin, and Betty said, we really wanted to gather for Easter. I have never not gone to church for Easter, and I refuse to do it even with this situation going on. My Lord is more important. Again, I think it's just somebody who feels like that it's almost like she wants to show, it's like a martyr. It doesn't matter if it kills her or not. If this virus kills her or not, she's still going to go worship on Easter. I don't think that's the right way to do it. What do you think?
No, I don't think that's the right way. I did see something that someone had put on Facebook, and it said, I don't need a house of worship to know who my Savior is. And that resonated so hard with me because that is the truth. I remember when I was trying to get into a religion myself, I was told you can speak to God anywhere you are. And I remember always being told you can speak to him in the bathroom, you can speak to him in the closet. So what I took away from that was I don't have to go somewhere and I don't have to put other people at risk to know that my relationship with God is just as strong as it would have been if I would have went to church.
You absolutely can. People think that that's the thing about people in church. You hear about people that to church, that's the most important thing in the world to a lot of Christians. And they think that those who don't go to church are not as good as Christians that are those that do. And they feel like that is the standard of a Christian is to go to church. That is the number one rule. A lot of people think that. And a lot of people think that you're not truly and worshiping unless you're in church. You're wrong about that. You don't have to have a large gathering to worship Jesus. You can worship Jesus anywhere you want. You can talk to God anywhere you want. You can talk to God driving down the road. You don't have to be in the forum with your hands clasped and down on your knees praying. That is not how you have to talk to God. And it's just like worshiping God. You don't have to be in church to do that. So use your brain. Use your brain. Let whatever is happening right now, I can't explain it. I don't know what's going on. I know that we have a terrible virus happening, and trust me, I'm as frustrated as the next person. But right now, as we had this stay-at-home order, just stay at home. April 30th, we've only got 16 more days. It could be extended. It might not be. Let's be hopeful that all of this will be fine, and it won't be. But until then, be smart. Stay home.
Be safe. That's the big thing. You don't even have to be smart right now. Just be safe.
And be safe. It doesn't make you any less of a Christian. God knows what's going on. He looks down and he knows everything. He knows why you can't go to church. He knows why you wasn't in church on Easter Sunday. He's not going to punish you for that. He knows what's going on. But anyway, Easter is it didn't feel much like Easter because it was out of the norm for me. I have never spent an Easter away from my family, and this was the first. But it was still Easter. Did anybody do Easter egg hunting? I didn't see any Facebook post of that.
Yes, I'm actually so excited about this. Lana, who is a very huge Off the Cuff fan, I think she's on the show thread right now. She kept Easter alive for her little boy Garrett, and her and her husband, they colored eggs, they hid the eggs, and even at where she lives, they had like a little small like parade like thing, which I think was awesome that people kept doing that. Yeah. People made sure that Easter was still alive in ways that we were being safe.
Yeah, I think it's nice that still people keep those traditions alive. The Easter egg hunting. I always loved getting an Easter basket.
I did too.
My gosh. if you could bottle that feeling of getting an Easter basket, I got some great things in my Easter basket. I got WWF The Music Volume 3 and Volume 4 in my Easter basket. I got that DVD Like Mike with Lil Bow
Okay.
Wow
Yeah.
in my
Lil Bow
Easter
Wow.
basket.
We went to
Yeah,
his house, remember?
I got a bunch of cool goodies in my Easter bag every year. I don't get that anymore.
Did you used to get like prize eggs or money eggs?
I did. We really quick before we go to break, we used to hide eggs, and some of the eggs that we could hide had money in them, and they'd have money in them when you find them. Nothing crazy. It was like a quarter or something.
My family did it big, and
I'm
we
pretty
used
sure
to
they
get $100 egg. So if we could bring that back, I would really appreciate it.
Wait a minute. Your family actually hid an egg with $100 in it. Now that right there makes Easter egg hunting worthwhile.
We were fighting. We were knocking each other down.
Talk about knockdown, drag out fights with $100 bill on the line.
Oh yeah. Somebody was getting that egg, and it was always me.
My family knew better than that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back after these words. Stick with us.
Feel like I'm on house arrest. 80 reasons I should stress.
Welcome back, everybody, to Off the Cuff. Adam Banks here with you. Amber is also joining me via Zoom. She is at her house. I'm at mine. This is House Arrest Series Volume 4 of Off the Cuff. We are quarantining in light of the coronavirus situation going around. This song, House Arrest, has a lot of cuss words in it, so I had to not make this the song of the week and just have it as a song that we're coming into. It's a nice song. I like it, and I'm glad that we got to include it. Amber, I was thinking about, as I was setting up my home studio, because we've been doing this now for a couple weeks, I really feel like a little kid again. Well, because when I was a kid, this is what I used to do. I used to pretend like I had my own radio show. And it's funny to me that here I am, a 32-year-old grown man sitting here doing the same thing as I was doing as a 12-year-old boy. But the only difference is there's actually people listening compared to when I was a kid. There was nobody listening. But yeah, this is bringing back those memories of my childhood.
Well, is it everything you thought it would be?
It is. It totally is.
That has to be surreal, though, to know that like you dreamed something in your childhood and now you've manifested it into your adult life.
When things get manifested, when things that you saw yourself doing as a kid and you grow up to do them, it's really weird. And that's happened to me a lot. This radio show, the TV show when I hosted Midday Kentucky, my teaching career, the fact that I'm teaching college, that I'm a college professor, all of those things I saw doing as a young person. And now that in my adult life it has manifested, it is very bizarre. But Amber, how's your bank account grown any since Donald Trump has promised all of us to get stimulus checks very, very soon?
Not yet, but I am waiting and checking every day.
As part of the CARES Act, the $2.2 trillion stimulus package, I did not stutter, $2.2 trillion. I didn't even know that kind of money even existed. The federal government is sending stimulus checks to millions of Americans. So basically, most people are going to get a stimulus check. If you're a U.S. citizen, if you paid taxes in 2018, 2019, and if you've made under a certain amount, you're probably going to get a stimulus check. If you're a single person like myself, $1,200. And if you're married, the married couples get $2,400, like Amber. Dependent children must be less than 17 years old. Now, if you're over 17, you can't get this. But if you are less than 17, you're going to get $500, and the kid won't get the check. The person who claims that kid will get that check. So there's an extra $500. And no, you cannot claim your dogs, Amber, if that's what you're thinking.
Dang it.
So it will be direct deposited by mail if that's how you do your taxes. If you usually deal with the postal mail, which I don't know why people still do that, because it's very less convenient, you're going to have to wait a little bit longer on your stimulus check. So, Amber, what are you going to do? What do you plan on doing with that $1,200? So it's not every day that you get a lump sum of money in your bank account like that. It's kind of like winning a slot machine.
Well, I probably will just stay at home like I have, and I have nowhere to go to spend it. So.
Yeah. Well, I've actually got some ideas for the listeners out there who might be thinking of things that they should spend their stimulus check on.
Okay.
Now, some people might just be throwing it into their operating income. It just helps them just with everyday funds. But if you want to take this check and you want to actually apply it towards something, I'm going to give you some ideas.
I'm going to write these down.
You should. Number one, I think people, if you don't have an emergency fund, get one. If it's just $1,000, if it's just $1,200, hey, this is perfect. $1,200. This is a great emergency fund. You never know when you need money on a rainy day. There has been situations where I've needed to get into my emergency fund, whether it's car trouble, whether it's legal trouble. I won't go into detail, or other things. You might need to dip into that emergency fund. So that's something that you could use it for. You could pay down a high interest debt. One of the things, and I don't mean to sound like John Ramsey here, even though I know that that guy gets a ton of radio listeners, so there's probably something to that. The one thing that I will say that I know about debt that I feel like that I'm pretty good on is managing debt. And high interest debt is what you need to eliminate first, folks. You got to eliminate high interest debt, because the way that you can do that is to take out one big gigantic loan and pay off all of your smaller loans and just have one big payment and make sure it's a low interest loan. And right now is the time to do it because they're giving out low interest loans. You could spend it at a local business that you don't want to see close. You could donate it to charity. Find your charity that you want to give it to and donate it to them. Off the Cuff is also taking donations as well. We'll go ahead and throw that out there. But yeah, those are some ideas for people to do with their stimulus check. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I was
going to say, what are you going to do with your stimulus check?
I don't know. I don't know. I am still in the process of saving for a house, so I might just apply it towards my housing fund. I don't know. I might just have a nice night at Hollywood Casino. I might just wait and save it for the day that things open back up and I can just go back to the casino. I know one thing I'm going to get is a haircut.
I was going to say, you're looking a little raggedy.
I'm looking a little 2008-ish Adam Banks. I'm bringing back the old college day hair look. And those.
Let's not do that.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Amber, we're going to take Off the Cuff's Song of the Week break. So roll down them windows. Enjoy. I think it's another fitting song for Off the Cuff's Song of the Week. Are you a big Peggy Lee fan?
I am a huge Peggy Lee fan.
Well, here's a little Fever by Peggy Lee. We'll be right back after the song. Enjoy. I always feel like I am in the 1950s when I hear music like that. Amber, do you know a business that is really struggling right now, an industry that is struggling?
Like personally or?
Yeah.
I would just probably say a lot of our local businesses that we had here that were kind of booming.
Oh, I'm sorry. I probably, my bad. I can't, sorry for that miscommunication. A business that is struggling, an industry, is the photography industry. People who take pictures. Think about all of these things that photographers go out to do around this time in April. Wedding season is canceled. Graduation season, canceled. Prom, canceled. So engagement photos, all of that, canceled. So these photographers, they are not taking photos. And the thing is when this quarantine does end and they are able to get out and take photos, nope, everybody's just going to be waiting till the next year to do these things. Or do you think we're just going to have a lot of winter and fall weddings?
I would say we're probably going to have a lot of winter and fall weddings. I would say a lot of postponements. So I think around August, we're going to get hit with a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you see what Scott County did on Facebook with their prom?
I did. I thought that was very sweet, actually.
Yeah.
But you know what I don't like? Is people are doing this thing now on Facebook where they're posting all of their pictures from like their prom or their graduation in like, I guess, commemoration of the people who don't get to do those things. So why are we rubbing it in their face that, hey, we got to do this? But
right. I've noticed that people are posting pictures of their Facebook on their Facebook of class of 2006. senior.
And I'm like, why?
I'm like, why are you throwing it in these kids' faces that you had a graduation and they're not? It's just like their prom. People are posting pictures of their prom. It's like, had such a great time at prom. I'm like, why are you throwing that in people's faces that you went to prom? People in 2020 can't do that.
No.
So you're just
2020 is going to go down as the year that everybody posted their throwbacks because nobody got to go to prom.
2020, let me just say, has got off to one hell of a start. Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back after these words. Stick with us. Welcome back, everybody, to Off the Cuff. Adam Banks here with you. Amber is also with me at her house via Zoom. I'm at mine. This is House Arrest Series, Volume 4. Amber, I just want to mention really quick that there was some bad storms in eastern Kentucky, and it hit home, literally. It hit in my home holler of Beaver Dam in Letcher County and in my holler where my mom lived, where I grew up all those years in Dry Creek in Knott County. Both were hit pretty bad, and a lot of people were hit with some major storm damage. I know some roofs were blown off, shingles, trees were falling over in people's yards, into people's houses. I hate to hear of things like that, especially when it hits your home. I can see why celebrities are always so quick to donate millions of dollars when it hits their home, because if I had millions, that's what I would be doing right now, because it's like you think of what can you do. You want to just go there right now and start helping.
Well, I think the thing that's kind of bothered me the most about it is a lot of people that we know do not have electricity right now. So some of the luxuries that we're getting to enjoy while we're all quarantined is, I have AC, I have access to internet, I have access to television. And right now, a lot of our friends and family back home, they don't have that. So my heart is definitely with you guys. And I know that they're working to try to get things back up and going, but I know it's hard.
Yeah, people are down with power, and I don't know if Amber, about you, but when we are without power, when the power goes out, you talk about feeling vulnerable. That is the most vulnerable that you can feel, is when your power is out, because you can't see anything, and you don't realize how much you use it or need it, and how great it is to have electricity.
Oh yeah.
And when you don't have it anymore, that's really when it hits.
And you know what? I usually never charge my phone right before the power goes out. So when the power goes out, my phone's always dead.
Yeah, my phone's always dead. The power went out here a couple days ago. Last time that we was even on the air, the power went off for a couple hours. And I thought that the power was going to be off for days. When the power goes off, you just think it's going to be off forever. And I remember sitting there, literally, you can't do anything. You can't get on your phone because my phone was going dead. So you can't call anybody. You can't play around on it. You cannot read because you can't see. You can't watch TV. The only thing you can do is go to sleep. In the nighttime, that's the only thing you can do. And it's really weird laying there in the dark in total, utter silence.
Oh, yeah.
No lights on. That is the strangest.
Well, I'm good with no lights. It's just no fan.
Yeah. You talk about people freaking out if the power went off worldwide. You talk about a panic. You think people panicked over coronavirus? If the power went out and didn't come back on, you talk about sheer panic.
Oh, no. Don't sign me up for that.
Isn't that what people thought was going to happen on Y2K?
Oh, yes. Like, my family was preparing for the computers to go down. Like, I thought it was going to be like Little House on the Prairie, the way that my granny was acting. Get the oil lamps. And I'm like, dude, I don't know what that is, man. Like, what are we doing right now?
Exactly. Man, I'm telling you, that's what it feels like, Little House on the Prairie. It really does make you utilize your survival skills when you have no electricity.
Well, you know what no electricity shows me about my survival skills? I don't have any. So I probably should work on that.
I have to agree with you. I don't either. But Amber, a lot of people, as you know, due to COVID-19 are on unemployment. They had to take advantage of the unemployment benefits that Kentucky offers, because a lot of people are out of work due to their line of work not being considered essential. So since the pandemic hit Kentucky, Governor Beshear has announced a number of changes to the unemployment benefits. And we've not talked about unemployment benefits yet on Off the Cuff. And for those who are out there that are still without unemployment, I'm going to tell you how you can get it. And I'm also going to tell you what has changed from the normal unemployment, because we're not dealing with the same unemployment benefits that we were dealing with here in Kentucky. We actually have better benefits due to this pandemic. Let me just say that Bashir is waiving the 7-day waiting period to obtain unemployment insurance benefits. You can actually, once you sign up, you will immediately get your benefits. Work search requirements also waived, meaning you do not have to prove that you're actively looking for a job while this pandemic is going on. You know how you typically, Amber, you have to show that you're looking for a job when you're on unemployment. You do not have to do that on this new benefit package. The state, let's see. Your weekly benefits, you get an extra $1,600, and a $1,600 amount will be added to each person's total weekly payment amount through July 31st. That is huge. $600.
Okay, I thought you said 1,600, and I was like, wait, no.
600. That's a ton.
That's a lot.
Even though it ain't 1,600, 600 is still a ton. Thanks to the Federal CARES Act, that's what you're going to get. The normal benefit is $250. So that means you'll receive a total of $850. Or what I'm saying, like if you receive $250 normally, you would receive $850 because of that extra $600.
Yeah.
That's pretty nice. The number of weeks a person can receive benefits is raised to 39 weeks compared to the 26 weeks that it originally is. Some common questions that are always asked that I have answers to. And if I am an independent contractor, am I eligible to receive benefits? Now, that's people that typically wasn't eligible before to receive these benefits. People like substitute teachers, people like independent contractors, like freelance workers, like people who cut hair and things like that, landscapers, restaurant workers. Yes, right now you can get on the unemployment benefit package. Another question, I have to care for my family who is ill with COVID-19. Am I eligible to apply? If you're not working, yes, you are eligible to apply. I've only worked part-time in the past year and normally wouldn't qualify for benefits. Can I apply? The answer is yes. During this CARES Act, you can apply. And finally, let me just give you the helpline, because there is a helpline. That is 502-564-2900. 2900. That is 502-564-2900. And there's also an email at ulassistance@kentucky.gov. You can apply online between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. Monday through Friday, and on Sunday between 10 a.m. and 9 p.m. Or you could do it on the phone from 7:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Monday through Friday. And the number to do that is 502-875-0442. So there you go, folks. Unemployment benefits. The great thing about that is it don't have to be taxed right away. So you can get all the money that you can. And during this time, if you need it, get it.
I was on unemployment, when KLS shut down. So I hope that they have eliminated some of the obstacles that people had to kind of face when you were originally applying for unemployment. I know that it was a long process for the group of people that I was with that, also got let go. And unfortunately, I'm seeing some people on social media kind of saying that they're experiencing some of that again, long wait times, no responses. Don't give up. Keep trying. I guess that's the best. That was the advice that was always given to me was, just keep pushing forward and hopefully things will get resolved.
Okay, here I'm looking at the show thread and it's pretty active. A lot of people saying a lot of things. Shannon says, I'm down for a fall wedding in Florida. I say a lot of people are ready to get out and do Florida weddings, or weddings in general for that matter. So much has changed. So much about our daily lives has changed. I feel like the human connection has definitely declined in a world that we have never been more connected in. We are now very distant with one another. Amber was talking to me the other day about being in Walmart or being out in the parking lot, and she seen that this guy was changing his tire, and normally several people would be up asking him, "Hey, do you need any help, man?" But because of it, nobody was checking on him, asking him, because people are afraid to get around other people, and that's just scary. In a world where none of us should be strangers because of Facebook, because of Snapchat, because of Zoom, because of Skype, because of so many things, we are very disconnected now. And you think about all of these changes that has happened. So much is shaking hands. Will that go back to normal? Do you think that in this country, where that's just what we do in this country, we shake hands, people in a line of work like politics, they shake hands. Amber, I'm a very touchy-feely person. Usually I embrace people with a bear hug, with a pat or a handshake. I'm always touching people. Do you think that when this is all said and done, do you think that handshakes is something that's just going to go away? Because if you think about it, you can't get more germy than a handshake.
I mean, you and I have had this conversation as well. I'm very fearful of when social distancing does start to kind of, I guess, lift. I am immunocompromised, and I just don't know when I'm ever going to feel comfortable in this time frame. I mean, I'm not saying forever, and I'm not saying a year from now I'm not going to shake your hand, but I don't know if it's going to be something that I'm instantly going to, hey, how are you? The first time I see you, in person after a month of being away, yeah, I'm going to hug you, but it's probably going to be the pat.
Yeah.
Back up, and I think a lot of people share that sentiment. I think a lot of people don't know when they're going to feel comfortable to not only shake somebody's hand, but to even embrace. So I don't know.
I hope that when we do go back to shaking hands, I hope that, Amber, you're not one of these people who do the limp handshake.
No.
Please tell me you do the firm handshake.
There are people who do this with their hand. No, thank you. They'll lay it out.
This is a radio show. People can't see.
I know. They'll lay it out for you to, just grasp the end of their fingers. And
yes.
I'm like,
and it's like, it makes you feel weird. Or they'll kind of do like a rub on your hand when they shake.
Oh, I don't like that.
I don't like that either. Just grab my hand and squeeze it. Now, don't break it off and make me go down to the floor in pain when you shake my hand. But give me a nice, firm handshake. It shows confidence. I'm like, yeah, nice to meet you too. Grab my hand and give it a little squeeze. Don't break it. Just give it a little squeeze. I don't understand. I feel like there's no reason why people have to give the half-hand handshake. You know what I'm talking about when I say half-hand handshake? Is when they put just like their fingers, they just hold out their fingers and they block off the rest of their hand. It's like they only are wanting you to grab their fingers and
that was kind of what I was trying to simulate, is they just want you to grab their fingers. And I'm like, I don't know how to do this. Like, this is very awkward.
If the world was like that, where that's how all the handshakes were, I would hate handshakes.
I would never shake a hand again.
I would never shake a hand, because that's weird. A handshake is only appropriate when you get a nice, correct handshake, the way a handshake is supposed to be.
Well, are you like, I will call people out. Now, I mean, obviously, if I'm in a job interview or if I'm in a situation that I can't, but if somebody gives me a half-hearted handshake, I'm like, is that the best you got? Like, and I mean, my old saying used to be, I ain't got germs, but I mean, maybe now I do. So maybe that I won't be able to use that.
Yeah, you get that a lot in church. You shake a lot of hands in church, and that worries me about my dad. My dad being a pastor, shaking hands, he's always spreading germs back and forth with people. And that's just how pastors have to live their life. That's just their line of work. And in church, you shake a lot of hands. Even us church members, we shake a lot of hands with each other. And that's where you get a lot of weak handshakes. And it's not just from the old women. It's from men too. Grown men. Men who you would think would give you the manliest handshake ever was, will hold out their hand and give you a limp handshake.
A little dainty handshake.
A little dainty. It says something about you when you got something like that. It has. I don't know what it says about you, but it says something. I don't know what it is, but it says something.
All right. So, guys, note to self, if you're going to shake Banks' hand, make sure it's a good, firm handshake.
But don't squeeze it. Amber, I can't get over this shirt. Govern me, Daddy.
Yes. Do you not like it?
No.
Why? Like, okay, so I just have to say that I did not order this because I am a huge Andy Brashear fan. Not that I am saying that I am not a Brashear fan, but I just, you and I talked maybe last week or the week before when we first started doing the live videos that people had kind of sexualized Andy Brashear. So I thought, okay, let me get the best example I can. So what better way to show that we have sexualized Andy Brashear to death than to wear a shirt that says "Govern Me, Daddy." So
whatever. I don't know why people are finding Andy Brashear. I don't know why they're sexualizing Andy Brashear. I'm not seeing it. I really ain't.
I mean, I do think it gave a good shirt. So I mean, kudos to Kentucky for giving a good shirt.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take one last break, and we'll be right back with our last segment here on Off the Cuff.
Listen, homeboys, don't mean to bust your bubble, but girls of the world ain't nothing but trouble.
Welcome back, everybody, to Off the Cuff. Adam Banks here with you. Last segment of the hour. I'm at my house broadcasting because I am social distancing from everyone out there. It's been about 4-5 weeks since this social distancing has been going on. We've been doing the House Arrest series. This is House Arrest series volume 4. Amber Turner is joining me from her house via Zoom, social distancing. We were talking about Amber's Govern Me Daddy shirt because of Andy Brashear being sexualized. Amber, it makes you think, what if Matt Bevin had won the election and Andy Brashear didn't? Things would be looking a lot different than they are. Everybody talks about the demeanor of Andy Brashear and how he's handled this situation and how he's such a good governor. How would it be if Matt Bevin won? I'll tell you this, we would have been one of the last states to shut down these businesses. We would have been one of the last states. We would have been one of the last states to be doing the social distancing. We would have been forced. The death toll would have been way up there.
Oh, yeah. And I would have just loved to have seen the rude remarks that he would have made about people who wanted to social distance themselves.
Oh, I'm sure.
I don't think our response to unemployment would have been as positive as what it was. I also don't think that we would not have this 5 o'clock meeting that they have every night now. I don't agree with doing it every night. I think it does create a little bit of panic, but I think Matt Bevin would have been very withholding and not giving us most of the information that Governor Brashear has readily given us.
I agree with that. And you talk about that 5 o'clock everyday meeting. I agree. I think it causes a little bit of panic too. It's nice to get updates from Andy Brashear, but why does he have to do it every single day? Dude, take a day off. You've been on TV every day since this happened. Take a day off. He even got on there Easter Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Easter Sunday, I was like, okay, this is going to be the one day I don't have to look at Andy Brashear. I don't have to look at him. But there he was. Andy
well,
Brashear.
I mean, I don't agree with the fact that, we are teaching sign language now on a news conference that's supposed to be covering a pandemic. I am an environmental health scientist, soon to be. So, public health is something that is kind of, it's something that's at the core of, what I believe in. And I don't think that sign language classes and informing the public about a very scary pandemic should kind of go hand in hand. So I don't know who wrote that. I don't know who approved that, but I think that needs to be reconsidered.
I bet Matt Bevin is laughing still at a lot of Kentuckians today. He was the most anti-Kentucky person that I had ever seen in office. Someone who literally just did not like Kentuckians was Matt Bevin. And it makes me think that he would right now be laughing at the way Kentuckians are handling this social distance. A lot of the country is praising our discipline to stay at home. Matt Bevin has not said one thing about the, sacrifices that we're all taking to stay at home. And a person who really did care about the state, not a person who just cared about the state during his term, would comment on the process that Kentucky has made. And that's just the type of person Matt Bevin is.
Well, and that's again why he's no longer the governor of the state of Kentucky.
He's a great reason as to why people need to get out and vote. Every vote matters. Folks, we're going to have some up and down weather. It snowed a little bit, as a matter of fact, before we came on the air here. If it's nice weather, still, you need to stay in the house. Amber, people are not social distancing with this nice weather. Still, I'm seeing too much traffic on the roads when there's nice weather. Where do you think people are going? Because the thing is yeah, it's nice. I can see you going for a drive or going to pick up food. But other than that, where else are you going?
I can tell you where everybody's at. They're at McDonald's in Hamburg. We went there the other day just to grab some food, and that line was wrapped around that place twice. McDonald's has never seen so much business. They are booming right now.
And why? McDonald's isn't even that delicious.
I mean, I wasn't going to say it, so I'm glad you did.
Before we go, I just want to let everybody know that Off the Cuff is now on iHeart. So you can now find our podcast on iHeartRadio. This is radio broadcast number 50. This is our 1-year anniversary on the radio. Episode 308 of the overall series of Off the Cuff and the overall episode count. But you now can find Off the Cuff on iHeartRadio. You can download the podcast from iHeartRadio. We're everywhere. iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, YouTube, you name it, we're there. All podcasting platforms. We're working on getting on with Pandora. That should be coming in a couple of weeks. Pandora is a pretty good streaming service, but wherever you want to listen to this podcast, you can pretty much listen to it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's pretty much going to sum up House Arrest Series Volume 4. You can follow me, Adam Banks, on Twitter and Instagram at the Adam Banks. You can follow Amber on Snapchat or Instagram at Ambu447. You can follow Off the Cuff on Facebook at Off the Cuff with Adam Banks. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to the House Arrest Series Volume 4. That is Amber Turner. I'm Adam Banks, and this is Off the Cuff. We'll see you next Thursday from 4 to 5.
Okay, I'm bored in the house and I'm in the house, boy. Bored in the house and I'm in the house, boy.